Welcome to episode 176 of the weekly Shared Security Show. And joining me is the Canadian powerhouse co-host, Scott Wright.
Hey.
Hello.
How you doing, eh?
That's Australian. What's going on here? And we also are joined with a man who is known to be professionally evil, co-host Kevin Johnson.
Oh man, hi.
What
You
is
mentioned that and I laughed because I've been laughing, but I had to call Delta and fix a flight today. And I'm talking to the lady on the call and she asked me, secure ideas, what do you guys do? And I'm like, oh, da, da, da. And I said the professional evil line, and she's like, oh my gosh, I need that logo. And I'm like, oh, just send an email. We'll send you swag. So I'm sending swag to the customer support person from Delta.
That's awesome. I love it.
You should send her my email address and I'll send her some don't click on shit pins.
You know what? Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll just, this one lady from Delta is just going to get all this stuff from security companies. That's what we should do. She was awesome. She was very helpful.
That's great. Way to promote your company.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really promoting the company. I don't. Nothing against customer service people. I just don't have a high expectation of her hiring us to do pen testing.
But that could trickle up the chain. Manager passes it to another manager. Next thing you know, the CEO is calling you, asking you for a pen test.
That's exactly how it works, man.
It is. Yes,
totally. I've hired every one of my pen test companies by asking the customer service people.
Well, we have quite the show today for everyone. We have some great topics, and I want to dig right into things here with the announcement that starting on June 8th, Amazon is going to be releasing their, I don't know if you call it releasing, but
enforcing or no?
Well, yes, deploying. Let's say deploying their Amazon Sidewalk technology. So. For those of you that don't know what Amazon Sidewalk is, some of you may, because I did cover this back in November on the weekly show. It was episode 149, giving everyone a heads up that this was coming, but now we actually have a date, which is June 8th, where this feature within your Echoes, your actually the cameras. Why am I blanking?
Ring,
yes.
Ring.
Ring
cameras, the door locks, and
doorbells. All those devices now will have this technology enabled, and essentially it is a part of their wireless system, which expands out the wireless coverage of your camera or whatever device that you have to utilize your neighbor's bandwidth, or
which we've all been asking for so long. It's just
totally something I want.
Yeah,
I already
no
use
one
my
is
neighbor's bandwidth. What are you talking about?
Right. Yeah, I do that through their insecure wireless network that we accidentally connect to all the time, right? But yeah, so this has caused maybe a little bit of a privacy uproar. Some of that may be founded or unfounded, which is what we're here to talk about on the show. But wanted to give your take on, first of all, to your point, Scott, this is something we didn't ask for. But
well, they'll do it as Steve Jobs, right? You didn't know you needed this, but you'll need it.
Right. And you can opt out of this.
Absolutely. You can disable it. I wouldn't even call it opting out. I would call it disabling. And the reason I say that is, an update could turn back on, right? Like when you opt out, the implication is you've told them you don't ever want to do this. Disabling just meant you turned off the feature. And so they could in the future argue, well, we didn't update. You didn't tell us you wanted to keep it off, right? Like, I don't know. I think I'm going to play, I think I'm going to be the weird voice.
You're going to love this. Yeah.
I don't understand what the uproar is. I really don't. And the reason I say that is, one, this is not a surprise. Like you said, we talked about this back in November. Maybe that says how many people listen to us, but right, like Amazon announced it, they talked about it, and while you're absolutely right, Scott, the vast majority of us did not ask for this. I think there is a use case that this makes sense, right? This, and to be clear, as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, this is not like Comcast doing the guest wireless that people can use. This is extending your wireless coverage solely for the purpose of Amazon devices being able to access it. And if you read their notification, the conversations about pets and the tags and stuff on pets,
tracking for your
is
pet.
where I think the reasoning comes from. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just like, I can see a business case of, hey, you know what? We got these tags on a dog. Dog gets out, runs. You know, my daughter's dog, Oliver, he gets out the front door and that dude's like, yes, I'm free. And he runs and he has a blast and he giggles. I swear he giggles when you're trying to catch him. And having a tag that, you know, if he ran by my neighbor's house that has a Ring doorbell, being able to know that's where he was, that's a benefit. And I don't like, I'm just saying that, like, this is a reason. I could see that reasoning. We've already accepted that Comcast is going to share our wireless, and we somehow aren't in an uproar about that. We should be, by the way. I hate Comcast. We already have our Apple devices tracking tags all over the place to crowdsource when things are lost, as we talked about previously, right? This is such a minor thing. I don't understand why we're in an uproar about it. I don't like it. I turned it off. I'm recommending everybody I know to turn it off. But this isn't, I mean, they hacked our beef. Like, I
was thinking of putting that story this week, but
no,
that'll be next week.
Ransomware.
We'll talk next week about that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
This feels to me like manufactured outrage. Does that make sense?
And I would also say that because you can disable it right on your device, this is very different than Apple AirTags, which we talked about last week, where you can't disable it. The only way to disable it is to disable your Bluetooth, which to me is not a great workaround.
Yep. And I know I read somewhere, and it's true, we don't know yet whether disabling it really turns it off. We get that. It hasn't been deployed yet, so we can't test it. But I will argue Amazon has shown in the past that they do respect the settings you give them. Right? Like, we can say lots of bad stuff and all that kind of stuff, but as far as I know, every time I've set something on my Echo devices or whatever, it stays. So that's a good thing. Like I'd rather us, instead of having manufactured outrage about a random wireless thing, instead, let's encourage companies to follow a model that they give us the option to turn on and off the feature sets we want, and that they respect that choice. And if we were to encourage that behavior, I think InfoSec would be doing a better thing for the world than complaining about a dumb service that none of us are going to use anyways.
Yeah, it's understandable. I appreciate your point of view. I was actually probably a little misinformed. I thought it was more of an open wireless kind of thing. Oh, we're going to let people walking by share your Echo connectivity.
I could be wrong, Scott, but my read of it all is that this is just for Amazon devices.
And that could, like you said, could have some valuable use cases as long as it's under control. Now, my question for Kevin would be, okay, so you've been doing lots of pen testing and security assessments and stuff like that. And the first time you come across a business that has Amazon devices all over the place that have this stuff turned on, you've been engaged to test them, but you don't typically brief them ahead of time, you should turn some of these things off. You're going to have a field day with that, right?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay.
And the reason I don't think so is I would expect that if you were a business and you had Amazon devices around your business, that they would not be accessible from the same networks that your corporate sensitive data is accessible from. And if I'm going to have a field day, I'm going to have a field day that you have uncontrolled devices running on your corporate network. It has nothing to do with Sidewalk, right? And I don't know. Now, look, absolutely, if we figure out a way to pivot from, like, I can take my laptop and connect to a Sidewalk access point and then pivot onto the corporate network, yes, I'm going to have a field day. But I'm going to have a field day, I don't mean to be rude, but this is the typical, if I break into your house and I disconnect your Nest wireless and replace the firmware, I can then pivot through it. Guess what? Many of my customers are still running Windows XP. Not really, but
There are bigger problems to worry about.
We talk about these cool exploits. Oh man, this could be awesome. We'll fly a drone in and it'll hack the Tesla. And then when they park next to the charger, it'll compromise the bank and spew money out of the ATM. Whoa! And the reality is, I'm going to throw a rock through the window and steal the laptop. People aren't patching their machines. People have passwords of winter 2021, right? This is, I don't know. We're loud and noisy about dumb things. I don't know. Maybe
but it makes for a good episode. So
yeah, well, it totally does. I agree with that.
That's totally the soundbite that I'm using now for our video preview. So thank you for that.
No problem. No problem.
Spring and summer are upon us, and that means it's time for some much needed vacation time with friends and family. But this also means that you need to be aware of data privacy and how to protect your laptops, smartphones, and key fobs while traveling. Airports and other public areas can often be targeted by attackers looking to gain access to your devices through their wireless signals. So instead of worrying about disabling or turning off wireless functions, it's so much easier to place them in a Faraday bag when they're not being used. And if you want the best protection that you can get, you want to be using Silent Pocket's premium Faraday bag product line that blocks all wireless signals. So don't forget to get yourself a Faraday bag before you head out on your vacation. And right now, you can use discount code SharedSecurity and receive 10% off your order during checkout at silentpocket.com.
Is your team starting to show signs of fatigue from traditional security awareness compliance training, or from phishing assessments that target them for those teachable moments? As we've seen in recent news, these kinds of training are having a negative impact on corporate culture, and they're really not all that effective. So there has to be a better way. ClickArmor is the first gamified learning platform that helps build a self-defending team through engaging learning challenges and exercises. Its unique lesson templates, built with proven gamification techniques, let people learn and exercise important defensive concepts in a safe and fun environment. Whether you need to quickly deploy a training solution that gets people to stop clicking on things immediately, or you've got your own boring content that needs to be put into a more interesting user experience, ClickArmor can help. So go to clickarmor.ca/sharedsecurity to learn how to build a self-defending team.
So the next topic, I want to talk about NFTs. So have you guys heard of NFTs? The new
non-fungible
something
tokens. Yeah,
that's right. This is something that is, I don't want to go out and say it's gained popularity, because I think there was maybe a week or two, maybe a month or so ago, where someone tweeted something about some digital art that now is, has an NFT, and people were like, oh my gosh, that made 60 million, Bitcoin or whatever, from this transaction. And then people are like, what the hell is an NFT? And then when you discover what it actually is, you're like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of talk about that, like, first of all, what it is, and then the article, which we'll link in the show notes. I don't know. I would debate the title of this, of calling it the new threat landscape. NFTs, the new threat landscape. I don't know. I don't know if there's really a threat landscape here. With NFTs, this is just another kind of cryptocurrency, blockchain-y, fun thing right now. No one knows what's going to happen to.
I feel like NFTs are interesting, that they exist and that people are spending this kind of money on them. I think I don't care.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think so. Like, isn't it kind of like the tulip bulb inflationary period, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so they're rare. So what?
So
okay.
So let's talk about fungible versus non-fungible in terms of, like, what does that mean? Because a lot of people
wanted to say fungible.
I did want to say fungible, not fungible, but fungible. Fungible.
For anyone listening, you can have a drink every time we say the word fungible.
Yeah, if you have a fungible problem, you should probably see a doctor. But a fungible.
I had a fungible before, and it gave me some cream. Yes. I don't know.
So fungible, think about it as a dollar bill, right? Canadian or American. It can be exchanged with another dollar bill. And that's a fungible asset, right? It's of equal value.
Yeah.
Non-fungible is something that, you either can't determine a value, like a collectible. So a painting, a physical painting, a baseball card, anything like that is considered non-fungible. Or you could say a crashed Model S Tesla compared to a brand new Model S Tesla.
But is there a difference between numismatic and fungible or non-fungible?
I don't know how to answer that.
Numismatics are like coins and stamps and
the answer
limited
Yes.
production, right?
Yeah, non-fungible.
But my understanding is they are different because like I can't say the word, but those coins that are there, while they're limited edition, there is no absolute control to prevent that from being created again. Right? Like
right.
They still have the molds, and it's like, oh, we destroyed the molds, but yeah, you could create new molds. Like there's ways to do it. Whereas in this case, supposedly, I'm not smart enough math wise to know, but they can't actually generate another one.
Right. And that's the thing about the NFT is it's a token. But what's interesting is it doesn't define ownership of the physical asset itself. It's only a digital representation or a digital thing that we're talking about. So you're all actually only buying the unique token. So that's something to keep in mind, which is
in the current implementation.
Yeah.
Right. Like theoretically, they could implement it if the blockchain technology they were using had enough room in the block. I don't know. Right. But I think that's actually from a security perspective, I think that's the only interesting thing the article talked about, contrary to what the article wanted to say, is that from a security perspective, this is such a typical thing, right? We could do this security control so well, except we implemented it badly, right? And NFTs, I think, are the same thing, right? It was presented as, here is this absolute unique thing that you own. And the reality is it's not, it's an absolute unique URL. So, for the lack of a better term.
Exactly.
Right?
Because they can't store, like they found that like you couldn't store a digital image in the blockchain because it was too big or whatever.
Right.
So now they give you a link to a website that has the token, but then what happens if that website goes away or is compromised or, I mean, there's all a bunch of issues there.
Right. And that's why I say is what we have here is the traditional, we've talked about it a million times, right? The design and the implementation. And if those two are ever the same thing, you're lying. Right? Like they designed something that was kind of cool, kind of neat, kind of nerdy, right? And then they implemented it in a way that you don't really do what you sell. What you are selling is not what you're really doing.
Yeah.
Right. And what was the one that just did the Charlie Bitney video? Like,
oh yeah,
somebody bought the NFT of it. People are like, oh my God, we're not gonna have the Charlie Bitney video. And it's like, no, actually we are. They just bought that NFT version.
Just bought a token.
Like, like
buy the video.
Okay, what was the point? So yeah,
really?
I don't know. I think that, well, I don't want to rant, but I think that this is the same thing as the other thing, right? We have something new that people are like, oh man, I need to write a blog about this. And I think that there's some cool things there, but I think that the majority of what I've read turns out to just be smoke and mirrors to get attention to a viewpoint.
Maybe some of our listeners can enlighten us if there's any more.
I'd love to hear.
Well, I think, I mean, from a security perspective, they're the same issues that we see with blockchain and cryptocurrency right now, which is, there's vulnerabilities within the chain, smart contracts, all those things. But then there's also the typical stuff that we see, phishing and DDoS and scams, and those things are no different.
And I don't want to downplay any of those, right? Those are bad. Those are problems. But I don't know.
Nothing really new. Yeah.
Did you see the one interesting thing in that article, though? They pointed out that there was an exploit writer that tried to put an NFT on a 0 day, and that in hopes to make more money.
Yeah.
So thought that was interesting.
Wow. All right, let's get on to the serious news of the day.
Yeah, now let's talk like
Serious.
the big news of the week, and that is Norton antivirus, which is now called Norton LifeLock. So there was a merger there of companies. I think that was like last year or something. So in their new Norton 360 antivirus platform, they've released a way to mine cryptocurrency with your antivirus software. Safely, of course.
Did you see in the announcement also the announcement of the new mascot?
No, I didn't.
Bonsai Buddy.
Oh, Bonsai Buddy. Oh, my old friend.
Because that's what this is. This is Norton becoming adware. Just a different type of ad.
This is the worst idea I've ever heard.
I don't think it's the worst idea I've ever heard.
No, but it's
But I will say that, in my opinion, LifeLock is the worst idea I've ever heard. So all we know is that Norton is collecting crappy ideas. And
not secure ideas.
Not secure ideas, crappy ideas. I would like to. I'd like to be. There's a YouTube channel that they do pitch meetings for movies. Have you seen that? Did we talk about that last time? Right?
No.
Yeah, I think we did. You guys were talking about like Wild Inconvenience.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I want to see that pitch video for this feature set. Right? Because like, hey, what can we add to an antivirus protection security software? I know. Let's embed SETI Online.
That'd actually be a better use than
yeah.
It would be a better use. Like, here's what's going to happen. All of a sudden, everybody who manages antivirus systems for enterprises, they're going to get a pay cut, and the company is going to say, just use the systems to mine cryptocurrency. That's your side hustle, is that you manage the AV for an enterprise and you mine cryptocurrency with all the desktops.
Well, do you know the best part of all this is that they said that you have to disable the antivirus software in order to mine the cryptocurrency.
Oh my God, I missed that.
Because
oh my God. Oh man.
That's the best part, because you could like, quote, let unvetted code to compromise your system.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
This is the best idea I've ever heard.
So, like I said, so now Norton Antivirus will be as effective as LifeLock.
It's amazing. I just think it's one of the most amazing things I've heard in a while. So LifeLock is useless, by the way.
LifeLock is LifeLock is not useless. LifeLock is a scam. The fact that the company has had twice to refund every bit of money they collected because the FTC told them that they didn't do what they sold. Sorry, every single time I watch a YouTube video where the sponsor is LifeLock, I unsubscribe from that channel. I no longer watch that channel. It's awful. So, but this is a really, really bad idea. This is you want to talk about Sidewalk being a problem. Let's talk about this, right? Like you are leveraging, and it's made even worse by what you just said. You just rolled out a feature to all my systems, or you're about to, that allow me to mine cryptocurrency without antivirus running. This is great.
You want to be in the pitch meeting for that feature.
Why?
I was talking to Nathan earlier, and Nathan said, "Did you hear about their next feature?" And I think he read this from somebody else. But I'm not. I don't want to discredit somebody. But Nathan said, "Did you hear their next feature coming out? They're going to take that crypto mining capability, and they're just going to encrypt. I know it's different. They're going to encrypt your whole hard drive and throw away the key." So Norton is moving into the ransomware business.
Hey, they could after this, but and they did say that of course you could store that cryptocurrency in their wallet as well, the Norton crypto wallet, which links into Coinbase, and I'm sure there is some financing or kickback that are getting from Coinbase. I mean, it's all a big scam.
So I will say this, if you have ever talked to me, and over the years, I've had many people talk to me about the idea that antivirus companies create malware and release it. And I have always said, you know what? I don't think that's true. Could it be possible that an employee of it? Yes, absolutely. But I do not believe that Norton actively creates malware and pushes it out. And what I'm going to say here, and it's being recorded, so absolutely, what I'm saying here is that what I've learned today is that I was wrong the whole time. Norton absolutely releases malware because they're about to with the cryptocurrency miner.
Oh, amazing.
And on that note,
On that note, well, thank you again, both of you, for your comments and for being on the show this week. And we will regroup again next week with more fun topics.
Awesome.
Thanks,
awesome.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's all for this week's show. Be sure to follow the Shared Security Show on Twitter and Instagram for the latest news and show updates. If you like this episode, please hit that like and subscribe button, and please subscribe to us on your favorite podcast listening app. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week for another episode of the Shared Security Show.